Hello, good evening, everyone. I am C. Archana Dudeja, the moderator of this webinar. We are delighted to welcome you all in the webinar being organized by Continuing Professional Education Committee of ICAI. It is my pleasure to be a moderator for the webinar on reassessment proceedings, practical insights for tax professionals, and holistic well-being through Rajyoga meditation. In a short while, we will start this webinar. First, I would like to apprise you about CPE committee. In today's ever changing professional scenario worldwide, the biggest challenge the professionals face is how to stay on the top of their game while adapting to new requirements and norms. Therefore, it is imperative to aim to be up to date to offer unique guidance, influence others with their innovative approach and expertise. It is also vital to stretch old ideas beyond traditional boundaries to create new perspectives. In this context, continuing professional education facilitates professionals to maintain, improve, and broaden their knowledge, skills, and expertise required to achieve their professional goals through webinars and seminars. The program for this evening is as follows. We have two sessions of 1 hour each, and the topics are reassessment proceedings, practical insights for tax professionals by CA Mehul Thakur, and the second session will be holistic well-being through Rajyoga meditation by CA Brij Mohananand. Our eminent speakers will talk about above mentioned to emerging areas of professional interest. So now I would like to invite CA Mehul Thakur to take up the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Archana, for brief introduction about CP committee, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my views on the topic for which I have been invited.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen first. I think it is already there. Screen is?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, friends. We are discussing now practical insights for tax process professionals, and it is with regard to reassessment proceedings under the Income Tax Act. Before we proceed, I'd like to slightly discuss one important aspect, that Finance Act 2024 has already modified the provisions of Section 148A, substituted the provisions of 148A. So right now, I'm not going to deliberate on that. I'm going to deliberate on the erstwhile provision. They are almost parallel in terms of proceedings. And my focus today is that whenever we face notices under 148A, then how do we respond it? That is my focus, and that I'll discuss with the help of practical case studies from my office. Whatever the views expressed or going to be expressed in this webinar or seminar, they are being followed by my office, and they are the personal views, being the experience carried by me and my team. But you may have different understanding towards the law, different approach towards these notices. We are going to discuss right now these notices based on the erstwhile law, where we have got Section 148AB, and under the amended provision, we have got Section 148A2. They are almost parametrically similar. It would not be having any difficulty as a basic practitioner to deal with these notices. Why I have taken up the erstwhile law? The reason is because my case studies are based on erstwhile law. Law has recently been changed, and new notices have just been issued. We all are aware before 30th September. So that right now there is no material available, practical material available from my office. I am just taking up the erstwhile law, but it would be of great help for the amended provision as well. So let us start with 148AB. How to respond notice issued under Section 148AB. So we'll first look at what the law is. We'll look at what ideally the action to be taken by the chartered accountant while responding these notices. And then I will guide you the practical notice and practical response. So let us look at the law 148AB. 148AB says that AO cell before issuing notice under 148, he should provide an opportunity of being heard to the SSC. Why opportunity of being heard is given? Because AO would like to issue notice under which section? 148. So here law says that before AO should proceed to issue notice in the 148, he should give an opportunity of being heard. And law says that, erstwhile law says that it should not be less than 7 days time. That means at least the SSC concern should be given minimum 7 days and not exceeding 30 days time to respond this notice. Now, why SOCOS is given? Why opportunity of being is given? Seeking the response of the SSC that why notice under 148 should not be issued on the basis of information which suggests that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment in the case of SSC for the relevant year. So here the idea is that first of all, you receive notice under section 148AB, where you've been given the opportunity of being heard, that why in your case notice under 148 shall not be issued based on the information department is holding, which clearly suggests to them that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment. So this very important word is that this notice definitely should contain the information, and that information is what? Which suggests that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment in the case of SSC. Now what will happen? Clause number C says, 148AC, that whatever reply you will submit, assessing officer has to consider the reply in response to this show cause notice. And then clause number D of 148A says, officer will now decide on the basis of material available on record as well as the reply filed by your office, that whether it is a fit case for issue of notice under 148 or not. And if officer would like to pass this order, then he should obtain a prior approval of specified authority. And there is a time frame also given by what time these orders will be passed. Then it says it is within 1 month from the end of month in which a reply of the SSC was received by him. And if you have not filed reply, then within the 1 month from the end of month in which time or extended time allowed to furnish the reply was given by the SSC, was given by the assessing officer, expires. But there is a time limit given for that purpose. I am right now not going in time limit aspect. Of course, it is very much relevant when you are preferring or you are challenging the assessment order, and if order is not passed in time limit, then entire proceeding will go in nullity. But prima facie, what the proceeding says, AO issues notice under 148AB, giving a show cause. Then you have to file your reply. And then based on your reply, he will decide, considering the material available on record and your reply, that whether it is a fit case for income escaping assessment or not. And if it is a fit case, then he has to obtain a prior approval and he has to issue a notice under section 148. And remember, we will study further, and you are already aware, I'm not going much in law, but you are already aware that whenever this notice under 148 is being issued, it should be along with 148A-D order. It should be along with 148A-D order. So in short, you will receive which notice? 148AB. Now, what action point one should think about this practically? And then I will guide you the practical responses given from my office for a particular client. So first of all, we understood the word that for issuing this notice, AO must have information which suggests that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment. Now, many of the times it is found that whenever this notice is being issued under 148AB, unfortunate parties, AO does not mention that where it falls under explanation 1 to 148. Now, what is the importance of explanation 1 to 148? Because it defines the term, that information which suggests that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment. Definition of this meaning or definition of information which suggests that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment has been given under explanation 1 to section 148. And that's why this is very, very important. If we read this definition, I'm not much elaborating right now because we'll look at more of practical aspect. But it says first and foremost is clause number one. Any information which assessing officer has for the SSC, and that information is in accordance with risk management strategy formulated by board from time to time. That means law says AO is having information which suggests that income chargeable to tax at escape assessment, and that information is with the AO in accordance with risk management strategy formulated by a board from time to time. Second, you may be falling under clause number two also, that in your case, assessing officer has got audit objection. An audit objection clearly sets out that your assessment has not been carried out in accordance with the provision of Income Tax Act. So that is second possibility. Third possibility, you might be having information under Section 90 agreement, that is double taxation avoidance agreement, or we can say avoidance of double taxation ADT agreement. The AO is having information because of DTAA arrangement, and that information suggests to the AO that certain income had escaped assessment in your case. Fourth possibility is AO is having information in view of the scheme notified under section 135A. 135 is a verification of information processing done by the income tax department, and that is also like CPC kind of thing. We are already finding these kind of notices, and nowadays even 133.6 notices are also a part of this 135A mechanism, where you find notices electronically given for verification of particular information in the SSC's case. And SSC's response should be considered. And after considering response, if they find that yes, there is some information which had escaped assessment, then they will pass on this information to the assessing officer. And then assessing officer will pick up your case under 148 proceedings. Well, that is 135A. Like, let me give an example. Like one of my client, he used to participate in HNI May in a public issue. And during the year, he had taken the finance of around 600 crore. And for the time being, that 600 crore, he had made a fixed deposit till he subscribed for the IPO. Now the notice was served to him via 135A mechanism that you should give the source of 600 crore fixed deposit because your income is very meager. How you arrange 600 crore? So now if your reply is not proper, then if the reply is not satisfactory, then the concerned authority under 135A, which is acting faceless, he will pass on this information to the concerned assessing officer and he will take action under 148. And clause number 5, that department has got information which requires action in consequence of order of a tribunal or a court. So sometimes reopening is required to be done because of the order of a tribunal. Let me give you one small example just for a practical understanding. Let us take it a case that your SSC's case or your client's case has been reopened for the assessment year. Let us take it for 2021. And for assessment of 2021, addition took place under section 68. Now, matter being agreed by the order of the assessing officer for addition under 68 for unexplained cash credit, matter was carried to the first appeal and then second appeal. Now, tribunal has passed the order that this cash credit, which has been added in your client's case, let us assume 50 lakh rupee, tribunal passed the order that this cash credit does not pertain to assessment year 2021, but it pertains to the assessment year 1920, and therefore it cannot be taxed in the year assessment year 2021. Now, there is a finding of the tribunal that this is not to be taxed for AY 2021, but it should be taxed for the AY 1920. Then based on this tribunal order, assessing officer can go for reopening the case for the assessment year 1920, subject to the other conditions of section 151, 149, and 150. I hope you understood that 5 clauses. In short, AO does not have any discretion to go beyond this. If AO would like to reopen your case, then AO has to establish by any mode that your case falls or his information falls in clause number 125. And therefore, whenever you receive notice under 148AB, many of the times it is found AO does not clarify that under which limb of explanation 1 to section 148 this notice has been given. AO never clarifies. And therefore, it is normally first communication to AO from our office should be, you should ask him that let us know which clause you have invoked for giving notice to me for reopening my case or for issuing notice under 148AB. I think you are clear. Clause number A, that is first communication. In first communication, you should also request, because many of the times we find that they give only information. They do not provide underlying material or documents which they have relied upon for alleging that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment. This is the limitation. Mostly they provide you information. Let us take an example that in your case is a case of bogus purchase. Then assessing officer will simply give you a case related information which is known as CIRU, and he will write simply that this is the source of information. Basic he write. He will give a box, and in box he will write bogus purchase, financial year to which information pertains, amount of information pertains, that's all. And by along with that CIRU information, there are some attachment, but he never provides this attachment. He only provides the box, and in that box it contains only information. It does not contain the material relied upon or document relied upon for alleging that income chargeable tax at assessment. Therefore, our duty as a tax practitioner or as a chartered accountant is to request the AO to provide the underlying material. So my suggestion is that whenever we receive a notice for bogus purchase, and even if we are aware that our client has really indulged into this kind of transaction, we should not be afraid of this. First of all, let us verify that whether assessing officer has rightly reopened your case or not. And for that purpose, we should attack on the assessing officer instead of writing in a defense mode. We should first ask him that there are 5 clauses for reopening the case. Let me know under which clause you have reopened the case. Second, you should ask for the underlying material. And third, this is also noticed many times in 148AB that assessing officer gives 3 days time limit or 4 days time limit. But we have just seen that minimum time limit should be given is how many days? 7 days. So what is to be done? On 4th day, you should write that, sir, I have received your notice. You have given only 4 days, but as per the law, minimum 7 days to be given. So kindly give me 7 days time to respond this notice. So this should be ideally your first communication. Now, after you receive, once you give this first communication to the AO, normally you will receive a response from the AO, and AO will normally give you an idea that under which limb of explanation 1 to section 148 your case falls. Most of the cases are being reopened because of clause number 1. I request all the participating member to read clause number 1 once again. I'm just highlighting this. It says any information in case of SSC for the relevant year in accordance with risk management strategy formulated by board from time to time. So this word is very, very important. This information is in accordance with risk management strategy formulated by board from time to time. If you really search online, you will find this risk management strategy. They are available. Every year government comes out, CBDT comes out with a risk management strategy. So you should ask for a copy of that. Whenever assessing officer says that yes, your case falls under explanation 1, then you must raise your objection in a second communication, and your raise objection, more particularly when it falls under clause 1, then you ask him to provide copy of risk management strategy formulated by board for the year under consideration. There are chances that your case may not fall in this risk management strategy that I have practically experienced, like cycle 2 2024 risk management strategy has been released. And in cycle 2, if you read, then they have covered international transaction, they have covered TDS mismatch transaction, and some one more third category they have covered for non-resident. but they have not covered any other category beyond this. Now, if assessing officer says your case falls because of cycle 2, then which is completely wrong, then the foundation of giving notice under 148AB is wrong. If foundation goes, then entire proceeding goes. So that would be of a great help. Therefore, whenever assessing officer claims that your case falls under clause 1 to the explanation 1 to 148, it is advisable to request for the copy of risk management strategy. Then you should also state your objection if the notice has become time barred in view of the express provision of section 149. I'm not going in detail for 149, but prima facie we are aware then 149 deals with time limit of two sets of time limit. One is notice can be issued up to 3 years from the end of relevant assessment year, and clause number B says beyond 3 years but not more than 10 years. So you should also verify, because if AO would like to go for extended jurisdiction beyond 3 years, AO has to fulfill extra conditions, like he should be in possession of books of accounts, or he should be in possession of documents, or he should be in possession of evidence, and this document evidence ultimately represent either an asset or an expenditure for a transaction in relation to event or occasion, or some entry in the books of account, and which is the amount involved is or likely to exceed rupees 50 lakh rupee or more. So additional conditions are there for extended jurisdiction. So if you find that in your case it is not being satisfied and notice is as such time barred, then you should raise objection for that as well. Third, you should state comments on inadequacy, inaccuracy, or rationale of information, because many of the times it is found that information is sometimes inadequate, or sometimes information is inaccurate, or sometimes the information and the conclusion that income and escape assessment has no rationale. Like I'll tell you, recently we are facing the set of 1500 set of notices where I've been invited in a search case. 1500 notices are being given because of the search result. And the interesting part is that it is a finance company which has been searched. Now I am the person who had made deposit with the finance company. Okay, and I am getting interest income from the finance company, but this deposit is being made in cash, and the entire cash transactions have been unearthed during search. Now, what AO had done a job for 50 lakh, I'm just giving you an idea. We are placing that matter before the High Court very soon, before the Gujarat High Court. So interestingly, what AO had done this, that whatever amount I have given as a deposit to the finance company, let us assume 25 lakh rupee in cash over a period of 1 year on different dates. Now, whenever I was in need of fund, I have withdrawn my deposit as well. And if you see the total, so I have given 25 lakh and I have withdrawn, let us take it 24 lakh. And I have earned some interest throughout the period, let us assume 2 lakh rupee. So what the assessing officer had done is that he made total of all these three. 25 lakh, that is what I have given, 24 lakh which I have withdrawn, and 2 lakh my interest income put together is 51 lakh. And how he claims that the entries found is more than 50 lakh. And therefore I would like to reopen the case. But practically, withdrawing my money would not be termed as income, which suggests that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment. So one can really argue on this that there is no rationale of including withdrawal of deposit as a part of information which suggests that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment. In this case, income escaped is 25 lakh what I have given as a deposit plus 2 lakh interest which I have earned. So this can be an argument, you can place it while responding to 148AB. You should also comment on the underlying material which relied upon by the department. In that also there are lots of inadequacy, inaccuracy, or irrationality, which I will point out by practical experience. I will share one notice and the response given from my office. Therefore, what you should do is first don't afraid of this notice. Even if your client has indulged in a bogus purchase or bogus kind of transaction or this kind of unaccounted deposit he had made, first of all, you should attack on the assessing officer with regard to his jurisdiction assumption, that how he assumed jurisdiction, whether he correctly assumed or not. You should comment on that. You should raise objection on that. And then you write that subject to above and with a view to cooperate the proceedings, now I am submitting the details called for. And very important, I request all the practicing members, including young members, that if statement of third party is relied upon, then don't wait for cross-examination to be sought at a later stage. You ask cross-examination at this stage itself. If assessing officer relied upon statement of, like just I've given the example that finance company has been raided, an assessing officer writes in an information that we have recorded this statement under section 132(4) of so and so person who is a director of the finance company, and this is the outcome of this question answer of this statement, then you should ask for a cross examination for that director of the finance company at this stage itself. And you should also seek a personal hearing. Remember, these proceedings mostly they are conducting face to face, and therefore you must seek a personal hearing. I think you are clear. And once you are done with this notice, what is the outcome? Outcome may be, if assessing officer is satisfied, then proceeding may be dropped. And if he will not be satisfied, then he will serve a notice under 148 along with the order under which section 148 AD. So this is the first notice under 148 AB. Now we are going to see the practical aspects of this, for which you all members have been invited on this forum in the afternoon. So I am giving you one notice which I am presenting on the screen from my client. You can see this notice under 148 AB. Okay. What this notice says, I have information which suggests that income chargeable to tax had escaped assessment within the meaning of 147. You are required to show cause why notice under 148 shall not be issued, and your reply should be submitted by so and so date. And this is pertaining to AY 1920. And you can see that notice is dated 21st March 2023. So it is within 3 years. And if you look at the information, there is some attachment is given. He said that please find attachment with the information available with this office. Okay. Now, let us see that information. Now, this is the information they have given. This is the only file. You check it out. You can just see. This information, I am reading the para 2, and remaining para I will cover up in my submission, because I already covered in my submission, so I will not repeat it. What the information department has, they said that we have got inputs from the central GST department. An issue was regarding evasion of GST by issuance of fake invoices without actual supply of goods. So he said that I have got an information from GST, and it is a case of invoices, fake invoices without actual supply of goods. And he further writes that I have got information from CGST where it is found that you have not received any material from the purchase you have made, and that purchase is made from Rajni Enterprise, which is a non-existent entity. And you have received only invoice to avail ITC and to reduce your GST liability. In fact, you have not purchased the goods. Okay. And then he had shared whatever the action he had taken, whatever communication he had made with CGST, whatever inquiry he had done with regard to the pawn of the supplier Rajni Enterprise. You can see here also inquired into GSTR of that fellow. Then summary, entire summary is given. Then some reply what I have filed during investigation from my office, that reply is given. And then conclusion says, it is clear that you have claimed to have made a purchase of 1 crore 58 lakh from Rajni Enterprise without actual receipt of goods. This is what the conclusion is. Okay. Now let us see what response given from my office on 20th March. First paragraph says, we acknowledge your notice, receipt of your notice. Now, second, I have written that your office failed to specify that under which clause of explanation 1 to section 148, the case of the SSC falls so as to suggest that income chargeable tax had escaped assessment, and therefore I have claimed your notice is bad in law because your notice is silent. You simply says that I have got an information, but you fail to mention under which clause of explanation 1 to section 148 my case falls. So this is what I have first of taken up argument. Then I have written, without prejudice to above and with a view to cooperate the proceedings, we would like to submit as under. So this is a partnership firm. Now what I've done, I have read the entire information and I have presented my rebuttal, detailed rebuttal on that information. You can see. Here he said that you have entered into a transaction with AXA Trading as well. In this case, so I have first of all written that I have not entered into any transaction with AXA Trading. I also argued that whatever document you have given in that SSC's firm names nowhere appears. Then I also said that you have given case related information, but in that you have mentioned categorically no data is available. I will show you that. You can see screenshot. This is a case related information he had given. And in that he himself writes for AXA Enterprise. You can see this part, no data is available. Can you see that? Therefore, I have said, kindly provide document evidence to establish that I have undertaken alleged transaction with AXA Enterprise. So there were two cases. One is Rajni, another is AXA. For AXA, I have said that I have not been given any information. And number two, I have not entered in any transaction with AXA Enterprise. Now let us look at Rajni. Our focus is on Rajni, for which he received information from CGST department. Now what reply I have given from my office, read minutely. With regard to purchase of transaction undertaken by us with Rajni Enterprise, your good office has provided the copy of report. That report is investigation report. On perusal of report, following points emerge. Number one, CGST has shared the information that firm had not received any material, but received only invoice to avail ITC. What I have done, I have filed a rebuttal. Kindly provide a detailed report received from CGST. And also I have written immediately that we have to submit that information shared by CGST is far from truth. And I also mentioned rebuttal that I have received material along with invoice. So I have rebutted straight away, saying that you give me first of all detailed report of CGST so that I can file further rebuttal. Second observation in this investigation report is they themselves are writing. Read it, very funny. ये खुद लिख रहे हैं. They themselves are writing. What they're writing? That income tax wing, investigation wing received information from CGST. Then they have issued reminder to CGST for sharing full information, document, statement recorded, copies of the bank statement, and they themselves have mentioned that we have not received any details from CGST. I'll share. You can see that paragraph. Just pay attention. I'm changing the screen. Now see, this is para 2. In para 3, investigation wing themselves write that these office had issued various reminder to Director Deputy Commissioner CGST Ahmedabad for sharing full information, relevant documents. However, CGST has not given the details. Now see my rebuttal, which is very important, my submission. कि आपका observation, your observation is self-explanatory. Your observation clearly established that CGST has not concluded inquiry in my case, and therefore they are not sharing full details as requested by Income Tax Department. It is respectfully submitted that this notice under 148 is premature, given that a report issued by Office of CGST has not yet achieved finality in terms of investigation. It is noted that said report can be considered in the capacity of whistleblower and that ultimate outcome of the investigation is contingent upon the subsequent action undertaken by the CGST department. And therefore, I requested them, in the light of foregoing, it is imperative to refrain from undertaking any action or decision concerning total income of the firm until such investigation by CGST has reached its final determination. I have said that your report itself says that CGST is still conducting inquiry. So till CGST will not complete inquiry, you cannot allege that I have entered into a bogus purchase transaction, because CGST finally may conclude that my purchases are genuine. So CGST investigation is pending. Therefore, I have said that your action is premature and therefore you should refrain yourself from taking further action concerning my total income. Now, very interestingly, you read point number C. One more observation in that report. And that observation is that my firm had filed return of loss of 1.17 crore, despite my turnover is 171 crore. So they said that you purchased from Rajni Enterprise 1 crore 58 lakh. And because of that 1 crore 58 lakh, you have shown a loss of 1.17 crore, despite you are having huge turnover of 171 crore. Now, interestingly, these observation is completely misleading. Why? Because our SSC had declared a profit of 1.17 crore, not the loss. That means you can understand that AO issued notice without verification of information. Before issuing notice under clause B of 148A, AO should have looked into my return before writing this. But AO completely and blindly relied on the report of investigation wing. An investigation wing has written that I have declared a loss, but reality, I have declared that amount of profit of 1.17 crore. Not only that, I have paid tax of 41 lakh 10,000. I have attached the copy of return. Next. Now he is writing further. The person from whom I have purchased, that is Rajni Enterprise, whose proprietor is Naresh Bhai Goyal, he had not filed the return of income. Though turnover is 25 crore he had done, but he had not filed income tax return. Now, what submission I have given against this observation? Non-filing of return by Rajni Enterprise may lead to adverse consequence in the hands of Rajni Enterprise. You should tax him. Why you are after me? If Rajni Enterprise is not filing return, if Naresh Goyal proprietor is not filing return, it is his problem. It is not my problem, despite he had a 25 crore turnover. Therefore, I have written, very categorically I have written, under no circumstances, non-filing of return of Rajni Enterprise lead to the inference that purchase made by me is without actual receipt of material. Simply he had not filed return, that doesn't mean I have not received the material. Then, one more observation in this report. He said that after open inquiry permission, summons was issued to the Rajni Enterprise, summons to issued to me, our firm. In response to the summons, he said that I have asked for the adjournment letter and submitted requested detail on 6/9/2022. I have said it's fine. I have asked for the adjournment and I have filed the response to summons. What is wrong with that? They already given me investigation wing, already given me summons. I have given the submission. What is wrong with that? I have said I am giving you copy again. That yes, I have submitted the response. F point is very important. He writes further in his observation that partner of the SSC firm has stated before the CGST on 25th August 2020 that firm had received only invoice and not received physical goods from Rajni Enterprise. And therefore, partner immediately paid 10 lakh rupee on 26 August 2020 as a part of reversal of ITC. That is what the observation is. Now, what is our response? And that partner has never accepted before CGST that firm had received only invoice and not received physical goods. This observation is far from truth. Now I am asking to AO, kindly provide me copy of statement deposed before CGST. Why? Because CGST has not given copy to my client. For payment of 10 lakh rupee, our reply is this, that payment of 10 lakh was done under protest because SSC firm is well established firm and it falls in category of few taxpayers who had returned taxable income more than 1 crore in India. And it is for the smooth functioning of business and with a view to cooperate CGST department, we have paid 10 lakh rupee and these 10 lakh rupee were paid under protest. And therefore, if it is paid under protest, it doesn't mean that my purchase is bogus. And again, I have written, it is reiterate that the entire report of investigation wing of income tax department is biased, erroneous and premature because investigation for Rajni Enterprise has still not yet attained finality before the CGST department. And then I have written, kindly provide the necessary document. Pending the receipt of above referred document, SSC firm reiterates that present notice is premature given that CGST report has not achieved finality. And finally, I have said that no notice shall be issued because it is premature, bias, based on erroneous report of investigation wing of the income tax department. So what my request is, don't be submissive. I have seen that our professional brothers are mostly submissive. Whenever they receive notice for bogus purchase and when they know that client has entered into this transaction, immediately they start sharing their response in terms of purchase invoice, bank statement, this and that. First of all, you should challenge his jurisdiction by studying the information provided by him because the information what they provide is half-hearted, incomplete. And you should challenge their jurisdiction. I hope you are clear on this. Okay. But finally, AO had not listened and he had reopened my case. So what will happen? AO will issue now notice under which section? 148. So now let us come to the flow. So we will see again the law and again we'll see practically notice and response. So what is the outcome? In this case, outcome is AO had not listened to my argument and he had issued notice under 148, passing order under which section? 148 AD. So now you receive notice under which section? 148. Now when you receive notice under 148, what they expect you? They expect you to file the return. Read the law, section 148. Before making assessment, reassessment under 147 and subject to the provisions of 148A, AO shall serve a notice along with a copy of order number 148 AD requiring him to furnish return within 3 months. So what he says, requiring him to furnish within 3 months time a return of income. You can see furnish a return of income. Okay. So what should be the action taken up? Action taken up should be you can file your income tax return, advisable to file income tax return within the time limit. Moment you file return, you will receive next love letter under 143.2. I'm not reading 143.2. I have covered up here. I will share with the ICI. So you can see 143.2 provisions. You know that 143.2 also has to be issued within some time frame. You all are aware. There is a proviso that no notice under this section shall be served after the expiry of 3 months from the end of the financial year in which return is furnished. There is a time limit. So now you receive under 143.2. So what action point you should take it when you receive 143.2? You should verify first of all whether this notice is within time limit or not. While responding this notice, you should acknowledge the service of this notice. Now very important, you make a request to AO. You give me the approval granted by prescribed authority for passing order under 148 AD. This copy you should ask because we are aware that after we file response to clause number B of 148A, it is the duty of the AO to pass the order under 148 AD, and that order has to be passed with the prior approval of specified authority under section 151. And you know that specified authority is different for a period of 3 years and for a period beyond 3 years. So we need to seek that copy of approval. whether he had sought approval or not. So you should request you give me a copy of approval. You should raise jurisdictional issue again if you find that he had not disposed of your jurisdictional issue in terms of time limit or in terms of explanation one close. If he had not given you documents or information, then you should again remind him to provide remaining underlying document information. But majority cases we find 143 notice cryptic. This notice writes that you refer annexure, but many of the cases annexure is blank. Do you agree with me or not? Whenever we find notice under 142, we find a cryptic notice with an annexure. They say you refer points in annexure, and when you open annexure, annexure is blank. So this is interesting. If this is the case, if annexure is blank, you should write this response. You see, the screen I have changed it. Dear sir, on perusal of notice in the 142, your good office wants clarification on certain points as per annexure. However, the annexure to this notice does not contain any such point on which clarification is sought. Kindly provide the points on which clarification is sought so that your SSC would respond. And you should ask for the approval. You are also required to provide the copy of sanction granted by the higher authority under 151, approving the order pass under 148 AD of the Act. So this cryptic answer should be given. Please respond 142 with this. Now you will receive notice under which section? 142.1. So what would be the next course? What is the outcome? Generally, you will receive notice in the 142.1, and typically they will expect you to respond 20 to 30 items. Remember, your case is reopened for bogus purchase, but they carry out detailed scrutiny. Again, I am warning to the members, these are my opinions, that they cannot conduct phishing inquiries other than bogus purchase. They have to restrict their inquiry under 142.1 only for bogus purchase. But our practical experience is such that they give notice for entire case. And normally it is typically of how many points? 20 to 30 points. So what is the approach followed in our office that I have written? So what are the action points? You gather all the details called for, scrutinize them, and keep them duly scanned. So in our office, we gather all the details, we keep it, we scrutinize that, and we'll see that nothing harmful should be there while submitting this information to the AO, and we'll keep it scanned. We never submit to you. Then we demand from him copy of approval. It is the practical experience they do not provide. Why? Because by the time 142.1 is issued, jurisdiction has been changed from faceless to jurisdictional assistant officer to faceless. Now your case is handled by faceless officer. An unfortunate part is faceless officer does not have copy of approval. So you keep on demanding. You should keep on raising jurisdictional issue. If notice is time barred, then you write to him, notice is time barred. You write to him, I have not been given explanation under which clause it falls. You should keep on demanding underlying document the way I have demanded here, copy of CGST report. So you keep on demanding that. Then what we are following, we do not respond to 20 to 30 points. We respond to only the point for which case has been reopened. That's all. Why I am telling this view? For remaining points, we write this. We raise objection that it is not permissible to conduct phishing inquiries in view of explanation to section 147. Now read 147. Explanation to 147. It says, for the purpose of assessment, reassessment, or recomputation, under this section, you may reassess income in respect of any issue. So by reading this, your impression is like that you can reassess income in respect of any issue. But read what law says. Provided such issue comes to his notice subsequently. The language is this issue comes to his notice. On that, I request all of you to refer Punjab and Haryana High Court Vipan Khanna. Vipan Khanna's case, I think it is 2002 citation, Punjab and Haryana High Court. Vipan Khanna says that we agree that AO can add other income, but for that purpose, he cannot conduct fishing inquiry. He can do it only when this issue comes to his notice naturally. He cannot conduct fishing inquiry. This is very, very important. Okay. So be careful this. Therefore, normally in our office, practice is followed. We keep everything scanned and ready. We gather details from the client for 142.1. We keep it ready, but while responding, we do not give it. Why? Because it is like that you are trying to escape from bogus purchase point, but you may catch another point from your submission, maybe another purchase or another aspects. Therefore, it will be very difficult to control you at a later stage. The advisable not to throw information to you, because if you give him more information, he will scrutinize and he will come with more points for the purpose of addition. And what we do is we keep it scanned, and if SOCOS comes for an issue other than bogus purchase, at that time we will give it. That is what the practice being followed. I'll show you one response given from my office. You can see a response to 142.1. For this case, we have given it from my office. You can read this. Without prejudice to above and with a view to cooperate the proceedings, your SSC firm submits its response as under. Number 1, with regard to various items called for ranging from serial number 1 to 1, we have to submit that calling for all these information explanation is an undue harassment to the SSC for 2 reasons. Number 1, almost all the informations we have submitted to the investigation wing, and copies were already made available with the investigation wing and judicial assessing officers. Please refer our annexure 2 and annexure 3. We already given it. Why you are demanding again and again? If you want, you should summon from the judicial assessing officer. And second, I have written, as per settled judicial precedents, AO is not permitted to carry out fishing inquiry for points which are not the part of section 148 proceedings or 148A proceedings. And therefore, SSC firm respectfully submit that all details are already lying with investigation wing and jurisdiction officer, which may be summoned with the help of technical unit. Unnecessarily, I will not submit it, you should summon. And again, we are writing that we have not done any transaction with Aksar Trading. We are also requesting him to provide the following information which we have requested. Number 1, that under which clause my case falls, you are still not provided. You have not provided the proposal submitted to the PCIT for reopening this case and approval granted by the PCIT. You also not submitted the document to establish that I have done transaction with AXA Trading. You also not submitted the report from CGST. You also not submitted the statement deposed for CGST. So I have requested since beginning of the proceeding, you have not provided. So you first provide this, then I will think about 20 points. This is the aggressive approach we are taking from our office. Now, what will happen if you respond this? Normally, you will receive a final SOCOS. Outcome is you will receive SOCOS. Okay. How do you respond SOCOS? I bet you he will never provide you sanction. Hardly they provide you sanction. I bet you they never provide underlying material because they do not have any much underlying material except information flashed on their portal from the ITBA portal. That's all. Or sorry, their Insight portal. That's all. They do not have any much more information. So you keep on demanding, and I'll guarantee you they fail to provide. So you keep on challenging. How do you respond? SOCOS, you again challenge, you do not have jurisdiction. You again make final request that I am reiterating this document have not been provided since inception of the proceeding. Now we have reached to SOCOS, kindly provide it. Then you write, without prejudice to above and with a view to cooperate proceedings. Now you give detailed response on issue raised in SOCOS. Then If issue raised in show cause contains variation on other point, means other than bogus purchase, then now submit all document evidences which you have kept ready, which you already scanned it, now you submit it. Then you ask for the cross examination. Now remember, cross examination is not a right. Moment you ask for a cross examination, AO will respond that cross examination is not a right. He will cite many judgments, and therefore he is right. Therefore, what you should do is you should narrate the circumstances which necessitate cross examination. So whenever you seek cross examination, don't write it for a matter of writing. You should narrate the circumstances which necessitate cross examination. Then you reserve your right at the end to make additional submission if AO provides additional information, document material. And at the end, you make prayer not to make proposed variation and must put a request of a personal hearing through video conferencing. All right. So this is the way you should write your response to show cause. I am giving you actual response which has been given to show cause in this case. You see, para 2. Neither faceless officer nor your office has provided following documents. So you keep on crying, and I have written that you are making assessment without providing this information, which I am requesting since inception of the proceeding. And this is against the taxpayer's charter. I hope you are clear. This is against the taxpayer's charter. And then I have written the list, again, the entire list. Then now I am writing it, subject to above, my rebuttal is as under. Now for Rajni Enterprise, I am providing all detail, ledger account, invoice, e-way bill, bank statement, goods received note, purchase register, sale register, stock register, GST returns, tax audit report. And I have said it is already been provided to you long back. And then in show cause, he had given same reason which we have read. One is that you have not received material. So I have said rebuttal we already read in the beginning. Then he said you have declared a loss. I said again it is wrong. It is profit of 1.17 crore. So I have repeated that part which he repeated in show cause. You got the point. So this is entire rebuttal submission detail is going on. For Aksa trading, again, I am saying that I have not entered into any transaction. Some additional show cause part was also there. And at the end, I have responded that every effort has been made to explain the issue under consideration. Since the SSC assessment is being carried out in a faceless manner, it has an inherent limitation of providing explanation as compared to face-to-face assessment. Therefore, if any further explanation information is required for various issues spelled out above, kindly let us know. In case your office would like to draw any adverse inference, then before doing so, personal hearing shall be granted through video conferencing. I think clear how it should be responded. Now, whenever you go for video conferencing, what is to be done? Last point, pay attention on screen. How to respond video conferencing. So what is to be done? You should keep show cause ready, as well as reply you are given, that you should keep it handy. Don't go by a soft copy, because you have to argue with the AO. You have to discuss and deliberate with the AO. It is advisable to keep a physical copy in your hand. Second, you should appraise yourself on the matter before 30 minutes of scheduled hearing. Okay. Then you should also check infrastructure and connectivity. Like I have checked before joining for this session 15 minutes before. Then without fail, during video conferencing, you should explain entire submission you have filed in response to a show cause notice. During discussion, if there is some extra requirement from the assessing officer, you note down. If AO says you furnish this copy, that copy, you should note down. Then you should seek 2 to 3 days time for submitting the additional document which AO demanded during the course of video conferencing. And you must file post video conferencing submission along with the required document. So this should be the approach when you are handling video conferencing. So this is what I am done, that how to respond 148A proceedings. So I have tried to make you understand what the law is, and with the law we have discussed the flow, that what notice has been given to my client and how do we respond this notices. So with this, I end my session within the time frame given to me. It is exactly, I think, 5 o'clock. So now I request the moderator to take charge. I am thankful to all participants that they have patiently heard these sessions. Any queries you can raise through moderator. I request
Yeah,
moderator to take charge. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you, sir.
Mehul sir.
Please.
We have few questions, like if you can take up for
Yes,
them.
please.
Yeah,
Whatever time limit permits, because we have got
yeah,
next
yeah.
session at 5 p.m.
Yes,
It is
yes.
my
We
duty
can
that
take
I
up
should
till
not take somebody's time. I should not
yeah,
curtail
yeah.
or eat somebody's time. Please.
We can take up till 5.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
One question from Gopi Krishna. Dear
Yes.
sir, I request you to clarify whether it is possible to file ITR after completion of 3 months' time from the date of notice.
Yes. Mr. Gopi Krishnan, your name is very wonderful because I believe in Krishna, I follow Krishna. And you have got both because gopis are the most dearest devotees of the Lord Krishna. Your question is very sound. Because of time frame, I have not discussed this part, but I'll tell you why these 3 months was given. Because normally it is found that we file return at the fag end of completion of proceedings. And the moment we file return, it is the incumbent on the part of assessing officer to serve a notice under 142. And if AO fails to serve a notice under 142, then entire proceedings will get vitiated. It will be treated as null and void. And that's why they have done an amendment that your return should be filed within 3 months. If you want extension, you can seek extension. But extension, I don't find it more than 1 month they grant it. Law prescribes if you write an application within 3 months, then they can give you an extension as well. But after extension, if you file it, then law itself says that return will be treated as null and void. I will show you. I'll show you the provision. Just pay attention on the screen. I think it is under 148 itself. Yes. You can read 148 last proviso. Any return of income required to be furnished by the assessor under this section and furnished beyond the time allowed shall not be deemed to be returned under 139. So what is the impact of this? Your return will be treated as non-est, null and void. And because of that, AO is now not required to issue notice under 142. I hope, Gopi Krishnan, this would clarify your doubt. What is the next query, please?
Yeah. It is from Anuruddh Kumar Goel. In
Okay.
view of various judicial pronouncements, what is the legal position if the proceedings under Section 148AB, order under Section 148AD, are conducted by a jurisdictional officer instead of faceless officer?
Mr. Goyal, I'll tell you that this is an argument before various high courts, and it started from Telangana. If you look at 2023, then it has got more flip because of Honorable Bombay High Court in case of Exaver. Now, for your just reference, recently we got a very at length decision from the Honorable Delhi High Court, and where they also considered Exaver. And Delhi High Court says that jurisdictional assessing officer and the faceless assessing officer as a concurrent jurisdiction. And they have read the entire set of provisions of the Act. What are the efforts undertaken by the Income Tax Department to conduct proceeding faceless? And if we read the law of faceless, more particularly Section 151A, it writes, to the extent technologically feasible, they will make it faceless. And that's why they have raised this argument before the Delhi High Court. And Delhi High Court had given favor to the department. And to be honest, my view is even Gujarat High Court in case of Talati and Talati LLP for a search related case, Gujarat High Court also had not agreed. And Gujarat High Court also said that notice can be issued by the jurisdictional assessing officer, more particularly 148A and 148. So in my opinion, matter will be carried to Supreme Court. And in my personal opinion, this argument would not survive. This argument will not no longer survive. You should not rely on this. You should be ready for merits. Yes, any other question, please?
No, Mehul sir. Thank you so much for your session. I'm honored to deliver this special thanks to you and for providing us with the new perspectives and the valuable knowledge related to 148 AD and the action points that should be taken by the CA for proceedings under 148 AD and what needs to be done in case of the notices under bogus purchases. So it was very insightful. Thank you so much, Mehul sir.
Thank you, Archana. Thank you, CP committee. Thank you, participants. Hare Krishna. I'll quick. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I would like to invite CA Brij Mohan Anand sir, who is Secretary General and Head of Finance Brahmakumaris and Chief Spokesperson of the Brahmakumaris organization Mount Abu. He's a chartered accountant by profession who, after working for 17 years in the Fertilizer Corporation of India, which is a Government of India undertaking, resigned from the post of Deputy Finance Manager in 1973 to dedicate himself fully to spiritual service of humanity. He has traveled extensively across the continents, delivering lectures and conducting Rajyoga retreats. He has been a delegate at several international conferences as well. He has organized numerous seminars on social and spiritual themes across the nation and has been a member of the core committee on education in human values, Ministry of Education, Government of India. I would like to welcome CA Birij Mohan Anand Sarji to take up the session. Thank you.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you very much for inviting me. We will be discussing about holistic well-being. Now, us know that all of us know that we we are living our life for different requirements. We spend time in different ways. For instance, for health, for health, we spend separate time for exercise, jogging, etc. And also take care what type of foods we have to take and what not, what type of mental state we have to keep. And we spend lot of time separately thinking about our keeping our health in good shape. When we come to money, wealth, there also, all of us find different ways to earn at least as much money as we require, but separately. When it comes to leisure and enjoyment, we take separate time off for going to the clubs, for excursions, going out stations, etc. Similarly, when we have to think of God Almighty, for that also all of us spend time, take out separate time. But you will find we are holistic human beings. And when we are thinking of health, it doesn't mean that we are not thinking of other things of life also. For instance, purity of our action, which is a religious activity. So, today's topic is how to be holistic about ourselves so that when we are doing one thing, we are doing other things also simultaneously. Although we may be active on one, and other things will also be accompanying that. We very well know the example of the tree that if you put water in the roots of the tree, it reaches the whole tree, and we cannot do watering of different branches. But presently, our life has become such that we have to pay attention to different things, bringing up our families, for instance, keeping social appointments, then having our professional life and professional group of people, etc., etc. So in the Brahma Kumaris, I have learned that there is a root cause for our this diversion and deviation. And that root call, I can call it identity crisis. It means that we are doing everything in our life which is not going to where it should go. And our efforts are just superficial and do not bring substantive result. For instance, what I will define identity crisis is simply in two words, I and my. Now, normally we are considering I to be my body. That is the my holistic being, that presently my physical body and then my professional attainment, my address, my relatives, etc., etc. All are connected with the body only. And I will say my son, my brother, my professional colleague, my residence, my office, everything, my car. So when I say my, I whose I think is this bodies. That is, for example, I am Brij Mohan, Brij Mohan's brother, Brij Mohan's car, Brij Mohan's professional attainment, etc., etc. But is it so? First of all, I should see who is the I in me. Here, from here starts the basic diversion from holistic approach. Now, normally we say my hand, my nose, my legs, and in total we will say my body. So this brings us to the point that if it is my body, who am I? Am I the body or am I different from the body? And we will also further find that body is only our medium. The eyes are not looking, but soul is looking through the eyes. Legs are not walking, soul is walking through the legs and taking it to the direction which soul wants. In short, soul is the eye and body is the mind. But somewhere on way of our journey of life, we people started thinking my to be I and connecting everything with the my. So therefore the question of my health comes, which means health of the body. My wealth comes, which means the money or the wealth which my as a body I am possessing in my bank or elsewhere. My children, which means this body's children. And we very well know the first lesson of Bhagavad Gita, which we read many times, but we have forgotten its essence. And that is, you are a soul. The God says in Bhagavad Gita, which is the supreme scripture, considered to be the supreme scripture of the world, which has been translated into maximum languages, which have so many interpretations, so many Gitas. So it says, first lesson is, you are soul. You are not body. And body is perishable. Soul, that is, you are immortal and eternal. So how far do we really follow in life this particular very important wisdom given to us by God? So you will find somewhere on the way we forgot this, that I am immortal soul, and all our energy, all our efforts are being spent towards well-being of the body. Body, bodily relations, and bodily possessions. And because we are not the body, so we have to do separately things for health of the body, for wealth of the body, for well-being, for relations of the body, for religious improvement of the body, for physical upkeep of the body, etc., etc. Knowing very well that this body we have to leave one day. And when we leave this body that day, everything that we acquired and everything that we built up and made in our life will become not connected with me. I will be no more in it. So much so that within my lifetime, I have to declare nominees and heirs from my possessions, etc. So here lies the key to holistic well being. You will find also that life, what we say, life means something that is living, that can experience, that can express, that can have emotions. Everything that really is experienced in life is done by the soul. Even through the eyes, although eyes is the instrument for looking, but it is the soul that is looking. You will find that the soul, if you change your attitude, today in the morning you are looking at one person as your friend, but you get some information that he is not your friend, he is actually working against your interest. In the evening, you see the same person, but you will say, you get lost, I know about you now. So, therefore, all the emotions, for instance, love, peace, happiness, are experienced by the soul. If the soul departs from the body cannot have any of such experiences. But somehow or the other, we have been working for body, and body alone. And that is why our life is separated into different compartments. That is to say, different time for health, different time for wealth, different for socializing, etc., etc., and etc. So I have experienced that our holistic well-being lies in, first of all, removing this identity crisis and thinking myself to be soul rather than the body. And that, in fact, is the root of Indian spirituality. You know, in India, only we people talk of our ancestors, do their sraddha, and think of our future also after death. In other civilizations and in other countries and religions, that is not so. They think that this life is life, and after that, there is no such thing even that is we call rebirth. But in India, we believe in eternity of the soul and rebirth, and also, although we have got different notions about what happens after we leave our body. But for the present purpose, we have to see that I am not this body, I am soul, to overcome this identity crisis. That is number one. You can think over it, and in the end, if there are any questions, you can ask. Now come to the further next part of it. Okay, I am soul. I understand I am soul. When I leave the body becomes worthless, and people say, he has gone. My relatives and friends will say, so and so has left for heavenly abode. Some of them will say, परलोक सिधार गया. Others will say स्वर्गवास हो गया. But something real life has gone. The real being has gone. Otherwise also, we are called human beings. Now this word human being has two words. One is the human part of it, other is the being part of it. We very well know about the human part of it, and in today's world, everything is done for the betterment of human part of it. All everything, for our human part, even for the eyes, if you go to a eye hospital, there will be 100 types of medicines to maintain the eye. But the being part, first of all, nobody has thought of being part, and even if somebody knows that there is a being inside us, they do nothing about it and for its improvement. So what is happening that the human part is being more and more developed, and the being part is languishing because we neither do anything about it nor know much about it. Today you will find for the human part, we have made wonderful inventions. For example, the computer, etc., etc. But all that requires the being inside to be able to use any technology, howsoever fast, howsoever having wider implications. Now about the being part. Okay, Bhagavad Gita says, and we can also realize that I am not the body which is perishable, I am the soul which acquires body, sheds body, and takes another body because being is eternal and it requires a body to express itself. Without body, being also cannot do anything at all. And without being, the body also is useless. This is easy to understand. And now, this being part, well, we do not know after I leave my body where I, the being, go. But we can understand its functioning and understand how to use it to use the body while it is in the body, which is our present concern. Now, see, this being when I come to know the being, I think I start using the being to be able to have holistic well being. Shall I be able to do that? Perhaps not. Because it is the being is there, but there will be implementation paralysis. Okay, I realize I am a being. Do I feel that as a being, I will be able to do what I think is good for me, what I think I should do, and I should be able not to do what I think is not good for me? So there will be implementation paralysis. What I mean is, supposing I understand that I should not have waste thoughts because it is the being which raises the thoughts through the mind. I should not have waste thoughts because if I have so many more of waste thoughts, then when it comes to my action, then my actual real thoughts will be lost into the whole lot of waste thoughts and will become weak and ineffective. Now I realize I am a being, but just by realizing I am a being, shall I be able to avoid my waste thoughts? No. Because when for a long time we have been ignoring the being, not knowing about the being, not trying to improve the being, which we should, because whatever we put in the being will be ours now in this life and hereafter, because the being will carry all my personality traits, all the impressions that I gather during my lifetime. But when I know nothing about the being, what happens that anything that is left unused, it gets damaged, and there is something superfluous that creeps into it. The same thing has happened. To give a simple example, today we think that knowledgeable people are better placed. People who have knowledge rather than the ignorant and the innocents and the general masses, they are better placed to live life better. Now, it means they have knowledge. Okay, knowledge has two sides. That is to say, knowledge tells us what is good for me and what is bad for me, what is right for me and what is wrong for me. Okay. Now, many people who think that they have knowledge, what is the practical experience? They know what is right and what is wrong. But still, after knowing also, they are not able to do the right as they want to do and avoid the wrong as they would like to. Just as you are driving a car, you are seeing that some vehicle is coming from opposite direction. You have to avoid striking against it, but a person driver feels paralyzed. He knows that he can apply the brake or divert the car, but is unable to do. Similarly, it is called implementation paralysis when after knowing also we want to do something we are not able to do. Simple example is of the pigeon and the cat. When the pigeon sees the cat, it gets paralyzed, closes its eyes, and the cat pounces on the pigeon. If the pigeon remains in its senses, then the pigeon can fly and go to the rooftop. Cat cannot do that. But this is called paralysis. And this implementation paralysis has taken place over the period of time. Not that the souls, all of our souls originally was so weak. Originally, everything in its new form and original form is healthy and vigorous and able to do what it wants to do. But when weakness comes, then one is not able to do one what wants and is forced to do something one does not want because weakness is overpowered by everyone. So therefore, over the period, in the Brahma Kumaris, we have learned that by not knowing about the souls, by not using the soul, certain behavioral weaknesses have crept into the soul, which are very common to our society, and we sometimes understand them also. We even talk about those weaknesses also. Pray to God also for removing, helping us to get rid of our weaknesses, but we don't do. And those behavioral weaknesses are number one is ego. They say Pap Mool Abhiman. Ego is the root of all wrongful, unrighteous action. We all know that when a person develops ego, he feels himself has a superiority complex, and thinks himself to be wiser than others. So what he expects is that everyone should obey his every command, and then nobody should obstruct or even question what this person wants to get done. So long as one is in authority, people not willingly but under compulsion obey that person's ego. But in fact, the person with ego is getting depleted rather than getting enriched. That is to be carefully noted. Just a minute. You see, all the rivers of the world have only one objective to merge into the ocean. They pass through various obstacles, but they finally merge into the ocean. Why so? Because ocean is lying low and from higher level water moves to the lower level. Similarly, a person who is humble, who does not have ego, this weakness of ego, will receive like the ocean receives water. A person with ego will get empty because he is not ready to listen or receive anything. He just wants to give. So inside, the person is becoming empty, but he has got the ego. So this ego changes our behavior. You will find person with ego will not be loveful. He will be discriminating between people, thinking himself to be more superior than others, etc. So that brings a behavioral change, and which means the soul is not functioning as per its normal faculties. Ego is an acquired faculty. Same about anger. We all know anger. So today, of course, people think that anger has become necessary. A little anger is very necessary, etc., etc. But in anger, one has to heat up and burn himself to a higher temperature, then one transfers it to others. And you will find in the end, angry person feels tired. He loses his sense of proportion. And Bhagavad Gita says कि क्रोध से बुद्धि का नाश हो जाता है, पावर ऑफ जजमेंट गेट्स ब्लड. Third one we all know, we call it greed. Now, greed is another behavior, but it is so uh, attractive looking that it is like a sweet poison. Greed means a person has acquired a trait that he should get more and more and more and more and more. Now, supposing in today's times, somebody tells me, anyone, that let me increase your body weight by 4 times. Nobody will agree because people are very body conscious, health conscious. They want to reduce their body weight. Person will straight away refuse. I do not want my body weight to be increased. Tell me something to reduce my body weight. But if the same person is told, if supposing I increase your wealth by 4 times, person will readily agree. This is greed. Now, this wealth also is a burden. Extra wealth, we all know, we have to keep it, hide it, and be careful about it. And we can't use it also, it is extra to us. So, a mental burden we don't realize, but a physical burden we realize. So, this is greed. And then there is something called attachment. In this world, we know that we have a small lifespan, and during which many people will come in our lives, and many people will leave our life, and one day we will also leave this journey of life. But still, knowing very well, one is so much attached to one's body, thinking that I will live forever. It is a human tendency. They see people dying, they themselves leave people in the Shamshan Ghat, but still there is a feeling I will not die. And similarly, they also feel all the possessions that we have acquired will remain with them forever. Now, this is an illusion, and therefore comes attachment. And attachment means doing injustice. Supposing I have a son and I want to get him employed somewhere, and he is not even competent for that, but I will use all the means at my disposal, right or wrong, fair or foul, to get him placed at the cost of someone who deserved it. So therefore, this attachment is explained even in the scriptures, that when Rama went to Banbas, Dashrath committed suicide. It was not Dashrath who was sent to Banbas, but due to attachment. So, last one, but not the least one, is what we call um, lust. Lust is actually number one. Bhagavad Gita says, lust is your greatest enemy. A body conscious person becomes lustful, which we call kam vikar, and then he does not bother about losing his own purity, chastity, forgets all the rules of the society and religious rules and spiritual rules, and lust makes a person blind. We all know. And at the back of every truck it is written, Buri nazar wale tera muh kala. And lust is the greatest weakness which makes one lose one's high pedestal of character. So this Kam, Krodh, Lobh and Ahankar, we pray in our prayers, okay, oh God, relieve me of my these things. We even utter the words, मैं मूर्ख खल कामी कृपा करो भरता विषय विकार मिटाओ. So we talk of these weaknesses, but we really do not think about those and try to eliminate them, eliminate their root cause. And it is these weaknesses which, in spite of my knowing that I am a soul, having this basic knowledge, I am not able to have holistic well being. They come in the way of holistic well being. How so? Now you will find everything, animate and inanimate object in this world, has its own natural nature. For instance, fire has the natural nature of burning. Ice has the naturalness of giving coolness. So, no animate or inanimate being in the world loses its natural nature. When it loses its natural nature, it becomes abnormal and unnatural. You put a cube of ice on your hand, palm, it will start melting, and become water, but it will not lose coolness because it is its natural nature. You burn a matchstick, and a good matchstick, it will try to burn your finger, but it will not lose its natural nature of fire. Now, let us see what is the natural nature of a human being. Is the natural nature of a human being anger? Is it ego? Is it greed, attachment, or lust? No, because we ourselves pray to the Almighty in our prayers that God get us rid of that. And in brief, I may tell you that for any human being, for any organization, any society, nation, even for the whole world, these five weaknesses are at the root of all grief and suffering. It is a statement I am making from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita says, काम क्रोध लोभ नरक के द्वार है. And towards the end, it says, Nashto Moha Smriti Labdha. The whole of Gita talks about these five human weaknesses. If I find in my individual life anything which is obstructing me from behaving in the way of my natural nature, it is this. If you, to make it short, if one goes to a court of law and asks the registrar to give a list of all the litigation that is going on, you will find that all the litigation will be arising out of either one or a combination of these five weaknesses: lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. They are so dangerous. And this is sampling in the court, in the whole society also, you can feel it. Now, how to get rid of this? Because soul itself can take care of its holistic well-being. What is the natural nature of the soul? Let us come to that also. People are seeking today peace. That if we get peace, we get everything. Ask the whole world what is their first base essential requirement. They will say, we peace. They talk of world peace. We talk of peace in the nation, peace in the family, individual peace. It is so much sought after. But is peace our natural nature? You will find peace as other side of the coin, which is peacelessness, the state in which today we are. Now, second thing, we will say love. Is love our natural nature? Love also has got the opposite, hatred. And in today's world, the word hatred is dominant and prevalent and everywhere. Love is conspicuous by its absence. And you will be surprised to know that we all call, when we talk of love, we talk of falling in love. They will say, fell in love. Why? If love is such a high emotion, such an exalted emotion, so much so that we equate God also with love. Sometimes we say love is God. Then how come that we are talking of falling in love, not rising in love? Again, the reason is when we are body conscious. When I think myself to the body, I think of the gross body and gross things, I fall in love. But when you are talking of spirit, ये क्या है? नदी कहाँ? So when we talk of spirituality, I as a soul, then I will think of rising in love, which means getting rid of all these weaknesses. In short, the natural nature of the soul is which has no antonym. It is called bliss. We say Atma Satya hai. Satya means eternal, everlasting, was, is, and will be there. It is the eternal existence. Chit hai, which means it has life, it has feeling. And Ananda Swarup hai, which means it is blissful. And there is no antonym of blissful, that is Ananda Swarup. So from that state, which was our original state, in which we came on this earth, and at that time, because we were complete, perfect, devoid of all these weaknesses, and we were really feeling I am the soul acting through the body. Our country was called Amar Lok. You will find Amar Lok. Amar means the one who does not die. And for long period, we retained our that state of blissfulness, and that's which included naturally love, peace, happiness, and good wishes for everyone, thinking good, doing good, listening good. For half of the word cycle, we can say everything has got two parts, first half and the second half. Only in the second half, the difficulty started become second hand. So you will say, I am talking only in terms of theory, but no. In our country, we have got today also the statues of the deities. Sri Lakshmi, Sri Narayan, I will take only one example, whom we worship, we go before them, and they are our ancestors, but we know how respectful, worship worthy they were, so much so that their bodies also are worshipped. But in the second half, we started thinking ourselves to the bodies. And as soon as we started thinking at the bodies, this world became Vritilok. Although the deities also left bodies, but that was called Amar Lok. Nobody will say Sri Lakshmi died or Sri Narayan died because they all through their lives they were soul conscious. When they left body also, they just slept and got into the next body. Today it is not so. Our lifespans have become short. Not only that, there is a question of untimely death. Today, in spite of all our acquisitions and scientific inventions, we have not been able to understand why there is untimely death. And the reasons for untimely death are growing more and more every day. A young person dies, a child dies, everything is okay. So not only the lifespan has gone short, there is untimely death. During our life also, we have some sort of other of suffering, and the root cause lies in these five weaknesses. And their root is that somewhere on the way of our journey of life, we became body conscious. And body is subject to death. We say, I die, although we don't die. So this is the spirituality which Indian the original spirituality, which we learned in the Brahma Kumari, which says it is against the accountancy principle. In accountancy principle, it is all that comes is gain, all that goes out is loss. But in the spiritual terminology, all that you give is your investment, and all that you get is your burden. So, therefore, give respect, get respect. The whole of the universe is giving. Every source is giving. Sun is always giving, giving, and giving heat and light. Ocean is giving, giving, giving water. God is giving, giving, giving His kindness and mercy. Rivers are only giving water, trees are giving fruit. Nobody is getting. But our ancestors knew this principle of giving, and the souls gave, gave, and gave. In the return, they got everything in plenty. There was no pricing and costing of anything. Nature provided us everything free. And after half the cycle, through our acquired wisdom of greed, etc., we have put price on everything today. And we are thinking of getting, everybody is thinking of getting. So we have become Levta from Devta. To give approach means you have an upper hand. If you have to give a 500 rupee note, you will have an upper hand. If you have to get 5 lakhs, hand will become low. So that is the approach to life, spiritual approach, which brings you holistic well-being. And Raj Yoga that we learn in the Brahma Kumaris, which means to say yoga of the soul, to get back our power of controlling power and ruling power, get back empowerment of the soul, get rid of these 5 weaknesses. This is a sense, is our concept of holistic well-being through Raj Yoga. Now I invite questions.
Yes, thank you so much, Bijmon sir. First question is, how can Raj Yoga meditation help in managing the stress and anxiety in our daily lives?
Okay. You know who gets stressed, the body or the soul? You will find it is the soul. So, what to talk of getting stress and overcoming stress? You can totally prevent stress through Raj Yoga meditation. How? I will give you a simple example of an actor in a film. Now, actor in a film performs many roles. He may be a beggar or a king, but he performs the roles all the time knowing that he is neither the beggar nor the king. He is an actor who has a different life, different personality, a different home. So after performing, he goes back home. He is neither the beggar nor the king. But because of his nice performance, as a beggar of the king, he gets all the appreciation, applaud, and also he gets equal emolument for either the role of a beggar or a king. His emolument does not change. Similarly, we are also actors in this life, and we can get out of any role the same amount of appreciation, that is to joy, and the reward. But what is wrong is that when an actor starts confusing himself as the real one, that he is not an actor, a separate being, but as the real beggar, supposing, or a king. And when his role is over, the people ask him to remove his crown, etc. He starts crying, "You are taking away my kingdom." So here, the basic of Raj Yoga is, I am a soul, I am an actor through this body. Today I am a mother or a female. In the last body might have been a grandfather, and I am playing the role. So I should play my role with detachment. I will slowly by practice be free from praise and insult. The success in life lies उस्तति निंदा हानि लाभ जय पराजय मान अपमान opposite में same रहना. This is success. Ustat is not success. So this comes by Raj Yoga practice. And once you start thinking, I am an actor playing this role, not and get think that I am the role, then you can overcome this stress.
Thank you so much, Bijmon sir. There is one more question from Rajram H. He's asking, please lead us to a short Raja Yoga meditation.
Yes, that is possible. If that is the last question, then we will
Yeah.
do that and end with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let us all, whatever I have talked, for the moment, uh, sit silently. And if you have anything in your hands, etc., please leave it. Sit a little alert with the eyes open. Now, I know that in this body, I, the living being, and the soul. This body I know when I acquired, and I have to shed it. For the present, I forget about this body and only think about the soul. The soul in me resides in the middle of the forehead between the eyes. That is why we put bindi or tilak over here, but forget that I, the soul, am in the middle of my forehead. I am the living being, and from here I connect with my body to perform actions. Presently, I withdraw from that, and for a moment, I silently contemplate that I, the soul, the living being, am concentrated. I am a constant point of light in the middle of my forehead. Now, originally, when I came in this world, in my first life, I was perfectly pure, and which means I was loveful, peaceful, blissful, happy, and master of my body organs. Raj means the ruler or the master. Yog means I was connected with my body. Yog means connection as its master, just as the driver on the driving seat of the car. So, originally I was master and using my powers of love, no hatred of any kind, peace, good wishes for all, good thoughts raised in my mind, thinking only good, seeing good, listening good, and doing good. So, the vibration of my goodness and the like of me spread around in the atmosphere. And as a result of these vibrations, nature also returned everything in good and bountiful nature. All the animal kingdom had only beautiful and pleasing birds, etc. And the nature also behaved in such a way that everything I was doing was done at the right place, at the right time, in the right manner. So, perfection within me, around me, in the whole of nature was not disturbed. So, presently, I again invoke that state But because I, the soul, has become weak, I seek power from God Almighty, the Supreme Soul, who never comes in this world like me and other human souls to take birth and rebirth, who is ever pure. And the Supreme Soul is the seed of the world tree, who is in fact purifier, Patit Pavan, also a soul of light, conscient light, but almighty soul. So I connect myself with the Supreme above the soul world, and in silence gain power by this connection, power of purity. Just as light dispels darkness, this spiritual enlightenment and power will help me keep away from vices. So I rise and get back into the body and this world of action with the understanding that I will be having this Raj Yoga while in my karma yoga, I become a karma yogi. I will be performing, but mentally I will be remain connected with Almighty. And frequently, from time to time, I will do this practice so that it becomes my natural. Okay.
Um, Just before we conclude, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed speaker, CA Bijmohan sir, for sharing valuable insights and expertise on Raj Yoga meditation. Your guidance has been truly enlightening, and we appreciate the time and effort you put into making this session a success. We are grateful for the insights shared over the five weaknesses and how we can work to overcome them. I would also like to thank all the participants for their active participation. We had a wonderful turnaround with more than 600 participants. It's truly inspiring to see so many of you interested in enhancing your well being through this powerful practice. I hope you found the session insightful and that you can take away practical tips to incorporate Raj Yoga meditation into your daily lives. Thank you so much, Brijmohan sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Recording stopped.